After capturing the powers of the Sorcerer Supreme, it was only a matter of time before Victor Von Doom set his sights on the entire world. But how will Earth's mightiest heroes contend with a villain who is more motivated and more powerful than ever? Well, let's hop into the pages of One World under Doom number 1, the grand kickoff of this brand new Mega Marvel event. Courtesy of Ryan North, let's hop on in together and find out what happens next, shall we? So then, this book is kind enough to actually throw a little catch-up the way of readers who may not have been paying attention to what's been going on. Basically, at the end of Blood Hunt, Dr. Doom was able to trick Doctor Strange into relinquishing the powers of the Sorcerer Supreme so the Marvel Universe could rid themselves of a vampire threat. That worked. But Doom never gave back the powers like he promised. Stranger still, he didn't instantly try and use the powers to take over the world. In fact, he disappeared into Latveria for 6 months, and only now has he returned. Well, okay, that's not actually 100% true. Obviously, the Fantastic Four were really invested in trying to look into what Dr. Doom was doing, and he also made Spider-Man the champion of magic. But no one actually mentions that second part, and honestly, I can't blame them. You'll also be surprised to know that Doom has already conquered the world. Yeah, I'm not joking, that's actually how One World under Doom starts. No need for unnecessary build-up. Hot dog and her grandstanding, Victor Von Doom has already won. As he explains at the UN, he is now a superpower unto his very self, and that it was very easy to get the other world leaders to see the light of day and roll over for him. Now, officially, every other country on Earth is a province of Latveria. Oh, but don't worry, as Doom explains, it's not as scary as that sounds. There's not going to be mass enslavement or death squads or people being forced to build giant monuments to Doom's greatness. That was the old Dr. Doom. He was petty, but this is the new Dr. Doom. He represents power, wisdom, integrity. He's a new type of leader for a new era, not so easily corrupted and bribed like old politicians. He has a grand vision for the world. Why, starting today, all Latverian citizens will finally have access to true universal healthcare. No more will people be turned away just because they're sick. And hey, let's throw in some universal education in there too. Elite tier education all the way up to university for free for anyone who should want it. Because after all, Dr. Doom reveres intelligence, and why should a good education be gate-kept by the rich and powerful? Obviously, some people, even those in Wakanda, are all on board with these brand new sweeping reforms for the world, but other military leaders, in the likes of Russia, China, and even Canada — oh yeah, you can tell Ryan North is from Canada because he was sure to mention us in this story — feel different. Oh, don't worry, Doom assumed that was gonna happen. So he was sure to dispatch some Doombots to deal with them, and deal with them they did. Naturally, with a threat this big, it's all hands on deck for the superhero community. Reed Richards has convened an entire meeting of some of the biggest and most powerful heroes in the entire world. And honestly, to the story's credit, they do a good job making this feel big. It's been a long time since we've seen the X-Men, the Avengers, Spider-Man, and the Fantastic Four all united under one roof. The question then becomes, how the hell did Dr. Doom make all of this possible? Surely he must have used his magic to bewitch the minds of the world's leaders, right? Only when Doctor Strange looks into it, he doesn't actually see any magic residue, which is highly concerning. Furthermore, it's also not just the heroes who are all up in arms about Doom seemingly conquering the world overnight, as we see Baron Zemo and Hydra hijack the very same video feed Doom himself was using so that they could address the entire world. They say that they refuse to be kowtowed by some mad wannabe king. Oh, no, not because they're supervillains too and they would much rather see themselves conquer the world. No, Zemo and Hydra hate Doom because of his Romani ancestry. Well, I mean, you know, at least Hydra is consistent in their bigotry. You gotta give them that much. Well, actually, no, you don't have to give them anything. In fact, that's exactly what Captain America says when Tony floats the idea that maybe the enemy of my enemy is my friend in this situation. Instead, the assembled heroes of the Marvel Universe figure they better get to Latveria right now before Zemo and his men can cross the border and this situation can go from bad to worse. How do they all get there at once, you might be asking? Magical teleportation? No, they take an entire 747 jet that Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, is able to turn intangible. Geez, you think the heroes get peanuts in an in-flight movie too? I sure hope so. Also, don't think this story is just going to be a lot of doom and gloom. there's actually a very fun little aside here where Human Torch and Spider-Man are able to chop it up like the good old friends they are. Another constant reminder, if you needed it, that basically anyone is better at writing the Amazing Spider-Man than the people who are actually writing Amazing Spider-Man right now. Now, it's right around here things get really crazy. By the time the heroes actually make it to Latveria, they're shocked to realize that Baron Zemo has apparently also had his eyes opened by Dr. Doom. In fact, Zemo gives Dr. Doom Hydra's 100% support on his brand new ruling initiatives, why Hydra will even be hard at work now building schools and disarming old landmines in this new world order. Wow, either Doom is the greatest negotiator who has ever lived, or there is something very sinister happening at the heart of all of this. Once again, despite making himself the Sorcerer Supreme, the heroes don't actually see any magical fingerprints on this problem whatsoever. What they do end up seeing is a counterattack from Hydra soldiers who, once they realize that the heroes are trying to get aboard their flying fortress, they're ordered to attack by Zemo. Again, I don't know where this fits into building schools and disarming landmines, but trust me, it'll all make sense by the end. For the record too, the fight itself is really awesome. Like I said, I love seeing Avengers and X-Men and Fantastic Four members and other assorted Marvel heroes all fighting side by side like it's just a normal thing, because really it should be at this point. Hell, the book also does a really good job reminding us that this is all happening right now in modern continuity because Iron Man has his low-tech analog suit from his own solo series. Speaking of Tony too, he's the one who actually ends up taking point and charging the Hydra flying force to get to Zemo, which he absolutely does, revealing that this was not actually Zemo at all they've been dealing with, but actually a Doombot. Well, in reality, it's actually Steve who figures out that this wasn't the real Zemo first, because he asks him a question that only the real Zemo would know about the day that Hydra was founded, and he can't answer it. Reed Richards is able to go into the robot's databanks and find out what happened. It seems that Doom just simply killed Zemo minutes after meeting him and had him replaced. This also heavily implies that he might very well have done the same to the other world leaders. Maybe he didn't kill them all, but he certainly did something. Iron Man takes this opportunity to also address the world, to try and fill them in on Dr. Doom's machinations, and if you think it's hilarious that all the people of the world have now been addressed 3 separate times by 3 different supergroups, don't worry, they lampshade that and make a very funny joke about it. Only their message ends up having a rather unseen side effect. Once all the Hydra grunts realize that their leader has been murdered and that there's no one to rein in their aggression, they decide to basically go nuts all over the world attacking people. And because Earth's mightiest heroes are all currently in one place right now outside Latveria, that means the only person able to stop the rampaging Hydra grunt is, get this, none other than Dr. Doom. In fact, he does so by heroically riding into battle a Tyrannosaurus Rex, who is also a Dr. Doom from an alternate universe. Apparently, they explain this in great detail if you read the Ryan North Fantastic Four book, which I haven't, but God, I feel like I should. Dr. Doom takes this opportunity to turn the tables on the rest of the heroes, saying, yeah, I killed Baron Zemo, he was a Nazi war criminal. I also killed the Red Skull over in that Kelly and Lanzig Thunderbolts book. Seems like I'm doing a lot of the hard work that the Avengers themselves could never have done. It's almost like I've done more ruling the world in an afternoon than you heroes have done protecting it since, like, I don't know, World War II. Also, do you really hate my plans to give healthcare and education to the entire world so much you would try and undo me? Doesn't look very heroic for you right now. In fact, people are actively reaching out their hands for me and not you. And yeah, it's right there as the comic comes to a close, the heroes realize just how badly they stepped in it this time. Doom predicted all of this would happen and manipulated the situation to make him look like the triumphant hero and everyone else look like a total schlub, thereby further legitimizing his brand new rule. And so that was One World Under Doom issue number 1, everybody, and as far as a kickoff to a brand new event goes, I gotta say this was a pretty strong opening salvo. I gotta say I appreciate Ryan North's approach to telling what could have been a very familiar Marvel story, basically because he dispenses with all the boring stuff and just gets to the good bits. Doom is deliciously evil and ends up proving to be quite the force for the heroes to overcome, and it's gonna take them a lot of tie-ins to overcome, that's for sure. Though I will say for once I'm actually interested in checking out those tie-ins. What would a world under Doom look like, especially a Dr. Doom who is claiming to be more magnanimous than before? What would his cabinet look like? How did he actually get the world leaders to go along with him, and why hasn't he seemingly used his new amazing Sorcerer Supreme powers yet? I don't know, but be sure to keep your eyes peeled to my channel as I cover this series and as many tie-ins as I can to answer those and more questions. Overall, though, I'd feel comfortable giving this one an 8 out of 10. Good start.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.